Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We are reading chapter 7 of Hare Krishna. Sorry, there was some issue perhaps with my network. We are reading chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to quickly recite the first 20 verses, which we have already covered, and then we're going to read from the next verse, which is text 21. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasasi Tachrinu Jnanasteham Savijnanam Idam Vakshyami Asheshata Yajñatva bhuyonya Jnatavyam avashishyate Manusyanam sahasreshu Kaschid yatati siddhaye Yatatam api siddhanam Kaschin mam veti tatvata Bhumirapo nalo vayu Kammano buddhireva cha Ahankara iti yam me Bhinna prakritirashtada Apareyamitastavanyam Prakritim vidhi me param Jiva-bhutam mahabaho Yaedam dharyate jagat Etad-yonini bhutani Sarvani iti upadharaya Aham kritsnasya jagata Prabhava pralayastatha Matta parataram nanya Kinchidasti dhananjaya Mai sarvam idam protam Sutre manigana iva Rasoham apasukanteya Shri Prabhasmi shashi suryayo Pranava sarva vedeshu Shabdake paurusham nishu Punyo gandha prithiviyam cha Tejaschasmi vibhavasau Jivanam sarva bhuteshu Tapaschasmi tapasvishu Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Vidhi partha sanatanam Buddhir buddhimatamasmi Tejas tejasvinamaham Balam balavatam chaham Kamaraga vivarjitam Dharma viruddha bhuteshu Kamosmi bharatarshava Ye chaiva satvika bhava Rajasastamasascha Matta eveti tan vidhi Natav aham teshu te mai Tribhir gunamair bhave Rebhi sarvam idam jagat Mohitam na bijanati Mamebhya paramavyayam Devi Esha Gurumai Mammaya Duratyaya Mame Viprapadyante Mayamitam Tarantite Namam Dushkritino Mudha Prapadyante Naradama Mayaya Prihata Jnana Asurim Bhavamashrita Chaturvidha Bhajanti Mam Jana Sukritinam Arjuna Artho Jigyasur Jnani Cha Bhara Tarshava Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Ekabhaktir Vishishyate Priyo hi Jnaninotyartham Aham sa cha mama priya Udara sarvai veti Jnani Tab atmeva me matam Asthita sahi yuktatma Mam evanuttamam gatim Bahunam janmanamanti Jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha Kamesteste sritajnana prapadyante anyadevata Tam tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyata svaya Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya tasyachalam shraddham tam eva vididhami ham Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you again for joining. So we are reading text 21. We have read till text 20, and this section from text 20 to 20 to 30 basically talks about the different demigods, those who approach him, what are the similarities and differences, whom to approach, in what situation. So anything in connection with the demigods is very, very nicely explained in these set of verses. It could be a little bit, what do I say, sensitive to someone, because often the mind wants to hear what the mind wants to hear. But Bhagavad Gita is the scripture which opens our eyes. So whatever we share here is not what I think or what he thinks or she thinks, but it's ultimately the words of God, and that's Bhagavad Gita. So with that, let's hear or read text 21. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, but A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make this faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. God has given independence to everyone. Therefore, if a person desires to have material enjoyment and wants very uh, sincerely to have such facilities from the material demigods, the Supreme Lord, as Super Soul in everyone's heart understands and gives facilities to such persons, as the Supreme Father of all living entities, he does not interfere with their independence, but gives all the facilities so that they can fulfill their material desires. Some may ask why. The all-powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world. And so for enjoying this material world, and so lets them fall into the trap of the illusory energy? The answer is that if the Supreme Lord as Super Soul does not give such facilities, then there is no meaning of independence. Therefore, he gives everyone full independence, whatever one likes. But his ultimate instruction we find in the Bhagavad Gita, one should give up all other entanglements and fully surrender unto him. That will make him happy. Wow. Both the living entity and the demigods are subordinate to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the living entity cannot worship the demigod by his own desire, nor can the demigod bestow any benediction without the supreme will. Very wonderful point. So both the demigod and the living entity are dependent on the sanction of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, persons who are distressed in the material world go towards the demigods as they are advised in the Vedic literature. A person wanting some particular thing may worship such a particular demigod. For example, I thought we read this. I'm getting a little confused now. Okay. Not sure if we read this. I'll again read it. A person wanting good education may go to the goddess of learning Saraswati. A person wanting a beautiful wife may worship the goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. In this way, there are recommendations in the Shastras, Vedic scriptures, for different modes of worship of different demigods. And because a particular living entity wants to enjoy a particular material facility, the Lord inspires him with a strong desire to achieve that benediction from that particular demigod. and so he successfully receives the benediction. The particular mode of the devotional attitude of the living entity toward a particular type of demigod is also arranged by the Supreme Lord. The demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity, but because he is the Supreme Lord or the Super Soul who is present in the hearts of all living entities, Krishna gives impetus to man to worship certain demigods. The demigods are actually different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they have no independence. In the Vedic literature, it is stated the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul is also present within the heart of the demigod. Therefore, he arranges the demigod to fulfill the desires of the living entity. But both the demigod and the living entity are dependent on the supreme will. They are not independent. Mahaprabhu is repeating this point as we see here. Hmm. So, few main points in this text that Krishna is the supreme Lord, and all the other demigods and the living entities, that's all of us, are dependent on his will. He is present in the heart of the demigods also. So if, let's say, I want material desire, as Prabhupada is giving, oh, if someone wants good education, go to Saraswati. If someone wants good, health, go to Sun God and things like that. And it's Krishna only who is approving, oh, Sun God, you can bless this person with good health. Now, if Krishna can bless them to give good health to someone, can't Krishna give that himself? He certainly can, and he does, and he will to those who sincerely approach him. He mentions that in many, many verses, right? Pratigya tava govinda name bhakta pranashyati iti samsmritya sansmritya pranam sandharyamiham. Mata Draupadi says that. Pratigya tava govinda, this is your vow. Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. I preserve what he lacks and protect what he has. I provide what he lacks and preserve what he has. So, in short, Krishna is always there to help us, guide us, be our friend, be our best well-wisher, mother, father, everything and everyone if we approach him. But if we want short-term benefit and missing the long-term goal, then many people go to demigods. And Krishna is saying, I am in in the jivas, next to the jiva, I'm there, and I only promote. I promote their, or I approve their, not approve, or I sanction their worship of the demigods. Now the question may come, as Prabhupada is writing, why Krishna sanctions that? Because they'll get some material benefit. They may get a heavenly kingdom or a better, job or a better house or a better this, that. And what will it lead to? Trap, material trap. Puranapi jananam, puranapi maranam. So why does Krishna allow this? Why can't he just say, hey, you can't approach demigods, you have to approach me because I'm going to help you out to get out of this trap? The answer is, then there is no meaning of independence. He gives full independence. Hmm. Whatever one likes. Even he told Bhagavad Gita, entire Bhagavad Gita, okay, yatha ichasi tatha kuru, hey Arjuna, I've given you everything. Do as you wish. He didn't say you have to do this. He explained, oh, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. But ultimately, he encouraged many times, hey, you must fight. But ultimately, do what you feel most appropriate. God does not push. Bhakti, especially, is a matter of heart. It's a matter of heart. So those who choose to do bhakti, they can do long-term bhakti. Those who feel pressurized to do bhakti, will only do short term because the motivation is shallow. Because some like parents may force, hey, you must chant 4 rounds. The poor child can't rebel, right? 7 year, 8 year, and they may do it. I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong, like fully, but we should make it a joyful process. It should not be a very rebellious or forceful process. It's a joyful process. It's not a forceful process. Susukham kartum avvyam. Hmm. That will make one happy. That will make the kids also happy. So independence should be there, but of course, it can be dangerous too. Like if you give the independence to children, hey, do whatever you like. How many of the kids will choose to really study? So it is a duty of the guru. The guru can be heavy. The parents can be heavy sometimes on the child. Heavy in the sense like strict, set clear boundaries. You have to study 3 hours, then you get to play 1 hour, something like that. There's a boundary. This is your playtime. This is your say time. This is your bhakti time. That will make one happy. So in short, yes, Krishna allows, but intelligent person knows, oh, Krishna only is allowing, then why don't I just take shelter of him? Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I think we double read this verse, but it's okay. Ultimately, it's nectar always. Let's read the next verse. Anyone has any more thoughts or wants to read the next verse? 22. Sadhaya Shraddhaya. Yes, Vijaya Mataji, you want to try?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Text 22. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktah Tasya Aradhana Mihate Labhate Cha Tatah Kaman Eva Vihintani Tana. Translation. Inward with such a faith, he endeavors to worship to particular demigod and obtains his desire, but in actually this benefit are bestowed by me alone. Purport. The demigods cannot ever vindication to their devotee without the permission of the Supreme Lord. The living entity may forget that everything is the property of the Supreme Lord, but the demigod do not forget, so to worship of demigods and achievement of desired result are due not to the demigods but to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By arrangement, the less intelligent living entity does not know this, and therefore the foolishly goes to demigods for some benefit, but the pure devotee when in need to some of something, prayer only to the Supreme Lord. Asking for material benefit, however, is not sign of pure devotee. A living entity goes to the demigod usually because he is made to fulfill his lust. This happens when something undue is desired by the living entity and the Lord himself does not fulfill the desire. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that one who worships the Supreme Lord and at the same time desire material enjoyment is contradictory in his desire devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And the worship of the demigods cannot be on the same platform because worship of a demigod is material and devotional service to the Supreme Lord is completely spiritually. For the living entity who desire to return to Godhead, material desire are implement a pure devotee of the A lord is therefore not awarded in material benefit desired by less intelligent living entity who therefore prefer to worship demigod of the material world rather than engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Vijay Mataji, for reading this verse. So we partly covered it, that ultimately, as Krishna said, that he is there in the demigod super soul and demigod's body as well. And ultimately, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So, because demigods are Krishna's servant, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasab Bhritya, they're all servants. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, Brahma, etc., etc. All of the 33 crore Devi Devta are Krishna's servant. And I'm not just saying it because, you know, I'm. It's Krishna's supreme lords. It's a demigod's words. It's everyone. All the great sages are saying. Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Shukdev Goswami, Vyasadeva, etc. It's not that we just say it or we have concocted this or we're undermining position of demigods. No, no, that's not the case. You're giving them the true position, the true respect they deserve as Krishna's servant, like Hanuman. If Hanumanji, we say, oh, you're a great devotee of Lord Ram, Hanumanji will be very happy. Yes, that's my true position. But if we say, no, 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 Lord Ram is your servant, you're the greatest, there's no one more powerful than you. You are everything. Even Lord Ram is subordinate to you. He is not going to like that. Rather, he will punch that person and like teach him a good lesson. So we have to give them the right position. And for a devotee, there could be not a better position to be called than, oh, you're a sincere devotee. Like if we say, oh, mm, Prahlad Maharaj is like Bhakta Shiromani. Hanumanji is a great Paramhamsa devotee of Lord Ram. That's great. Always at the lotus feet of Lord Ram when we see in the altar. So it's not a matter of like inferior or superior. It's a matter of understanding the truth. Mm. So it's endowed by Krishna. That's one critical point. And bhakti is, when we say the word bhakti or devotional service, as mentioned here, it's only for Krishna or Vishnu, right? Very, very clearly mentioned. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord and the worship of demigod cannot be on the same spiritual platform. Why? Can anyone tell why? Devotional service to the Supreme Lord and the um, and the worship to the demigod cannot be at the same level. Why? Any thoughts?
Because the material luster.
Material? Material desires, you say?
Material luster and they praise the God, but
Material lust? Hmm. Let's read this point one more time. Material devotional service to the Lord and the demigods cannot be on the same platform because the worship of demigod is material. It's for an exchange, it's business. But devotional service to the Lord is completely spiritual. It's not an exchange. Even if someone approaches God or Supreme Lord Krishna for some exchange, it is still devotional. It is still spiritual. I mean, there is tinge of desires, but it's still much better than approaching demigods. Because approaching demigods is just a transaction. Like Hiranyakashipu also approached Lord Brahma. It was a transaction. He did tapasya, he got the results of strength, name, fame, etc. So many people can worship demigods, but that doesn't mean that's devotional service. Because majority of them are asking for something. Give me health, give me good wife, good husband, good children, good job, good house, good car, whatever. They're all material. But when we say bhakti, that's to Krishna. That's unalloyed, pure bhakti. We discuss different categories of bhakti, but we don't say bhakti to XYZ demigod. You can say puja, aradhana, etc., but it's not like worship. We worship Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Purna Purushottam, and he takes multiple incarnations, which we respect. We worship also sometimes. And he has his representatives as his demigods, whom we also give due respect and love and care. But to say, oh, you are everything to the demigod, forgetting Krishna out of context, out of picture, that is not acceptable. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions anyone has? Any reflections, any thoughts on this verse? Any feedback? Okay, there is something I need to take care today, so we will wrap up early today, which is now. So we're going to wrap up now and continue with the next verse, which is 23rd from tomorrow. Thank you. Bhagavad Gita Upnishad ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai, Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.